What's up, everybody? It's Toys for Fun 1, and this is my review on Star Wars The Last Jedi. So, um, this movie, it's a lot of comedy in it, but it has a lot of story in it too. And and as we kind of start off with the movie, it's like kind of an opening act with Poe trying to take off a dreadnought, and it just kind of kicks everything off with him and General Hux kind of playing with each other, and then gets to Rey and Luke's whole story, and then you get into the Kylo Ren and Rey, and then Snoke dying, and Luke coming, and Luke dying. So it's kind of a crazy movie after that, and we're gonna get into the characters right now. So the first character I want to start off with is Rey. When we left Rey in The Force Awakens, she she could use the Force. She didn't really know how to use it, and she defeats Kylo Ren, and then she goes to Luke's island, and then through the map from the Resistance, and finds Luke, who is on the island, and she, raises out the lightsaber, and then the movie is over. So in Episode 8, and also in the trailer, Snoke said something about like raw power, and people were wondering about if that is that Kylo Ren or is that Rey, and it turned out to be both of them, and Rey has this ability with Kylo Ren to kind of talk to him, and even though they're not in the same area. And it's really cool that he can even almost step into her environment, and she can too. It's this really cool power that we haven't ever seen in the Star Wars universe, which is really interesting. And it opens up for so many new stories, and I absolutely love the idea of that. And her parents are also addressed, and some people don't believe that they were just drunk people that sold her off for money. Some people do, and that'll all be cleared up in Episode 9, of course. Those arriving in May, and December 20th, 2019, I believe. So yeah. Now let's talk about Luke right now. So Luke in this movie, like we left out in The Force Awakens, he doesn't say a word, and his first words in this movie are "go away," and that kind of says everything for you. That he set himself off in the Force. He doesn't want to have any part with it. He went to the island to die, and he is not really friendly towards Rey. And then once Rey kind of goes into that tree, he kind of shows some interest in her. And then once R2-D2 shows him the video of Princess Leia and The New Hope, he kind of, he starts to train Rey and teach her about the Force, and that's where we get into that whole Kylo Ren and Rey thing. And then he, brings himself back into the Force. And then that final battle in Crate, where Luke projects himself onto there, that was another new Force ability that was really cool, and it opens up for so many new stories. And I love that. I love that choice too of doing that. And then I loved how he died, but he really didn't die. He just became one with the Force and just kind of floated away and just kind of disappeared. And I think that was a nice way to do it, and just kind of do it like, okay, he's gone, but it's not like he had some dramatic death like Han Solo or something, where he just kind of peacefully went into the Force. And Rey and Leia could feel it though, too. So I thought that was very interesting as well. The next character I'm going to go on to is Finn. So Finn kind of takes a step down in this movie. He doesn't have as big as a role where on The Force Awakens. I think he had a very big role, almost too big a role in The Force Awakens. But and I think his character is not meant here to be in that mission with Rose and all that. I think it's meant to kind of change his character and show that now Finn's not going to run anymore. He wants to stand. He wants to fight for the Resistance, and that was a very big step for his character. And I think they did a really good job with that. And I feel like they needed to start changing his character a little bit more. He couldn't be this kind of runner or whiner, and we thought he was gonna be done with that at the end of The Force Awakens, but he never was. It was all about Rey, and even in the beginning of Episode 8, he was trying to do that escape pod. He wasn't trying to escape and save himself. He was trying to find Rey, and he was still running too. He was just kept on running, and at the end of that crate battle, he just wanted to stay and fight. And when he goes towards that walker, if he would have died, I would have been absolutely fine with that because it showed a lot about his character. But since he didn't have as big a role in that movie, and some people need to kind of think about it more, they kind of brought in Rose to do that. But I think there's gonna be a sacrifice for him in episode 9. I think it's gonna be a very powerful thing too. So on that note, we're gonna go right into one of the new characters, Rose. So for the first time I watched this movie on opening night, I really didn't connect to this character, and I thought she was almost wasted. And I'm a massive Star Wars fan, so that was a lot for me to think of in terms of the movie and everything. So, but the second time I watched it, I ended up really liking the character, and I think she did a lot for Finn. Actually, I think she was there for Finn, and a lot of people thought, wasn't Rey enough to kind of keep him in a fight, but Rey wasn't because he was running for Rey, and so Rose was there to kind of teach Finn that like stand and fight and not to run, and I think that's why Rose was there to change Finn's character, and also was a nice new character in it. But I think that was the main reason she was there, and she was also there because of kind of showing how people join the rebellion, and they join the rebellion because not just like, oh, I want to join the rebellion. It's because something's happened in their life. And in her, she hates the Empire because the reason they want to hate the Empire, and she hates the Empire because she was tortured as a kid because those people made weapons for the Empire, and that's why she hates Canto-Bight so much. And we're going to go into more of Canto-Bight too. So that's what I think Rose's character is there for. And I also think how it's great that how she changed Finn's character to make him not run is by seeing her sister die by just standing there and not running away and sacrificing herself for the resistance, which is very nice. So we're going to move on to General Leia Organa. So General Leia did good in this movie, but I think the main thing I want to talk about with her is the scene where she gets blown out of the resistance cruiser and is in space, and she pulls herself towards the thing. So the first time I watched it, I really didn't get that scene. It was a little weird to me. Second time, it was a very powerful scene for Princess Leia or General Leia or whatever for doing that, because she couldn't have died without them touching on that force, because we knew she had that. So it'd be such a disappointment for her to die. I mean, you can go into more of how she could use the force, and I think that was really nice, because it might not have been the best thing to do. It might not be my favorite thing ever, but I think I always think, like, would I like her to just die and us not even see her even get to use the force more, or have her use the force in that kind of a way instead of just dying? And I think that was nice that they did that and they showed us, and I love it. It was cool. We got to see Leia use the force, and that's always cool, because we knew she had the force. We never really saw her use it, and that was a cool way to use it. And I think it was a powerful moment for her in the movie, and yeah. So let's go into General Holdo. So a problem I had with her was she has purple hair, which is a little weird because you don't really see that in the Star Wars universe a little bit. Kind of seen in Star Wars Rebels a little bit, but it's a little weird seeing it in the movies. But again, if you read the comics, she does have purple hair. So people that read the comics, didn't really bother them. People that did, it did bother them. So it's all kind of just whatever. But this character is very strong, and I think the highlight of this character is when she is in the Resistance cruiser and she light speeds through the Star Destroyer, and that is such a cool thing. And there's so many cool ideas that they thought of that I could have never thought of, and that's just so cool. It's just all new stuff. Every film is introducing all new stuff, and there's always that was a really cool moment and a really powerful moment for a character. And she was kind of an interesting character, but again, she kind of goes back to that Finn thing of just, trying to save the light and not trying to, be a hero for everything. And yeah, and for that too. So I'm going to go into Poe right after that, because Poe was more interested in being a hero and taking everything down and not really thinking about what are you doing? Is this going to work in like the long term? And was that really necessary to lose that many people? And his character changed bad, actually. He wasn't really that bad in The Force Awakens because he didn't have much of a part, but in this one they kind of went in depth in his character a little bit more, which was nice because we didn't really know a lot about Poe's character, and it just kind of flew in and blew up things and was all cool in The Force Awakens. So I feel like they really went in depth with these characters more than The Force Awakens ever did. And Poe changes so many times. He starts out the movie and he's completely different. He's this hotshot pilot, but then he kind of turns into a guy uh, who doesn't want to just blow up everything. And is really thinking things through more. Like when Luke's out there and Finn's like, we should go out there and fight with him, and Poe's like, no. So I think that was the moment where his character changed and became a better character. So this was a very good character development movie. It was just really good. So let's go to the dark side a little bit. So we're going to start off with Kylo Ren, who has that power that Rey can do. And there's that one scene there where he kills Snoke, and I think that was absolutely perfect because it showed that he's conflicted, and we don't really know how he did that. He might have done it because he, didn't like how Snoke was playing with him and he wanted to be the leader, or maybe he was trying to turn the light side for that one moment, thinking if he could kill her, he could gain Rey's trust, and they could be, rule the Empire rule the galaxy together. It all depends. It will probably be sorted out in 9, or it might be something we'll have to kind of speculate about because there's a lot of things in Star Wars that we don't know, and I like that too. So I think that was a good moment for him, and Kylo Ren just keeps, we just every movie we just go into a little bit more of him, and I think now he's not centered on Darth Vader, following after them. He's like, I'm just gonna be the leader of my own thing, and I'm the supreme leader now. And he just kind of totally took over. It was really kind of cool for him. He also changed too as a character too. So then we're going to Snoke, who, yes, I am a little disappointed that he died. I mean, you get to learn more about him, but again, do we really need to? I mean, I'm sure there's going to be a book about him. There's going to be a comic about him. He might even appear in a movie of Rian Johnson's new trilogy. So we don't even know how much he needs to do. But there wasn't a backstory about him. He was just kind of there as a placeholder guy. And, I wasn't necessarily upset with him, but I think it was just the right thing. I mean, he's not that important, and they're really isolating the story on these characters with Kylo Ren and Rey, and I think that was really cool. And they're not copying the original trilogy by, making the Snoke die in Episode 9, making Kylo Ren team up and all go against Snoke, because that'd be weird because they don't even know anything about Snoke, and then they'd have to go in a backstory about that. So I think that's really good. Captain Phasma, again, does nothing but dies. And the moment where you see her eye, okay, I mean, I wish they would have actually saw her whole face, but again, they're leading up for other stories and other books, too. They don't want to reveal everything. So maybe Episode 9 we'll see a little bit of her, I don't know. But the highlight for her in this movie was the battle against Finn. That was a really cool battle that definitely is a highlight of this movie, and definitely something that we wanted to see even in The Force Awakens, but we finally got to see it in The Last Jedi. General Hux has a very big role in this movie, and I didn't really know because I didn't really like him in The Force Awakens. I didn't care for him. He wasn't a big deal to me, but it was more of a big deal here. I think he was kind of like a Grand Moff Tarkin a little bit. Like, he could kind of like stick up to Kylo Ren, and how people were thinking, like, how does Grand Moff Tarkin, like, talk back to Darth Vader and all this stuff. And I loved how, General Hux talks back to Kylo Ren. Kylo Ren's like, don't do that. I have the Force, and he just chokes him and stuff. And I think that's exactly what Darth Vader should have done. And it was kind of like that same thing, but this time the Jedi, the Sith, just says like, no, you don't have any powers, officer. So it's kind of like a Grand Moff Tarkin a little bit. And then he had some comedy in there too, which was nice. BB-9E, which they made a big thing about, literally did nothing. I don't even remember his part. His part was like scanning BB-8 and figuring out that it was BB-8. Like, didn't even matter because DJ betrayed them. So it doesn't matter. And going on to that, we're gonna talk about DJ. Hopefully we'll get into his character more, and I'm sure he'll be in Episode 9. Just they left him kind of mysterious. Like, you're gonna blow him up tomorrow. I'll blow him up there. Just a little like, I don't know. I think he's going to come back to help them. Or maybe he's going to come back to, I don't know. It was really interesting. It was like a Lando Calrissian, but didn't end up helping them at the end. I think it was really interesting of his character, too. So, going through the whole movie, it was a nice movie. I'm going to talk about some of the scenes and areas. Luke's Island, very nice area. I loved all the scenes on that. It was a very pretty place to be and everything. Crate was interesting. They made a big deal about it. leading up to the movie. I didn't feel like it was the most important part of the movie. Definitely had a lot of highlights in the movie and a lot of changing points, but it wasn't, I don't think, the most important part in the movie. We're going to talk about Canto Bite, some of the animals and stuff in there. So the first time I watched it, I did not like this at all. I thought it was just a waste of time. It took away from the pacing of the story, slowed everything down. It was kind of a weird, cheesy adventure. The second time I watched it, I actually ended up enjoying it and finding a lot of entertainment in it. And I thought the writing on it was actually kind of cool the second time I saw it, and I ended up living with it again. It's not my favorite thing, but I'm living with it, and I think it's actually kind of fun and entertaining. After that, Master Codebreaker, I'm glad they didn't really make him a big part of the story, because that would have been a little weird. So I'm going to give it an overall rating now. So my overall rating for Star Wars The Last Jedi out of 10 is a 9 out of 10. It's a great movie, and you should see it again if you haven't. And make sure to like or subscribe to my YouTube channel, and I will see you next time.